Welch, and this is a gardener's notebook. Today we're in the garden. Please forgive me, we're a few days late, but it's been a rather busy week with some other video production, so just getting out into the garden today. Of course, it's like 95 degrees out here in Los Angeles right now. We have fires going on in the various mountains, but it's actually going to cool down again to like the 70s just at the end of this weekend. So just like anywhere else, the weather here can be very changeable. What we're going to talk about today is the demise of some of our potatoes. I'm not sure what's happening. It sort of started here and it's sort of moving in both directions. What I am going to do is I'm going to do a close-up here. We're going to dig up these hills and see what, if anything, was going wrong down in the soil with these potatoes to let them come up so well and then suddenly collapse back down. Now here you can see these were some of the potatoes that were doing the best. We got one here that is dead, that one's sort of dying, and this one's dying, and the rest are being kind of eaten up by something. So it looks like a combination of some sort of wilt and some sort of bug. So first thing I want to do is just, because we have such a clear identifier where that potato was, I'm just going to kind of gently dig down in here and see if I can see any remnants of the roots or anything else that was going on. Oh, hey, well look at that. Now I must say that is a tremendous surprise. I didn't think there was going to be anything down here in the soil, but you know, with potatoes you never can tell. Now this one is a little bit rotten on the end here, I did notice that. So maybe he'd sat in there a little too long, maybe it was just a little too damp. So well, that's quite telling actually. Let's go ahead and dig up a few more and see if we see anything else down in here. It looks like that might be the only thing in here. So I just took a few minutes to turn over the soil here, and one thing I find is, oh my god, there's some like sections of clay in here that seem just almost like pottery clay, just very hard. And you know what? It smells like there wasn't enough drainage. It's quite damp. It has that kind of musty, damp smell to the soil, where other sections are quite dry. So I'm guessing perhaps this bed, I didn't go deep enough when I fitted it up. And I got some of the standard garden soil in there. This happened to have quite a bit of clay in it. This is almost like Play-Doh, for goodness sakes. That's interesting to see. I wouldn't have expected that at all. Never can tell. I did find one more potato in here that was rotten. So it obviously was retaining too much water in here. And you can even see there's some wet soil right there. So I'm guessing that's what got me here. We'll keep a watch on the other potatoes and see if they continue on. But I think in this area, it's certainly not good for potatoes here. Now I don't want this soil to go to waste. I think it's still fine for growing stuff, especially now that I've turned it over and released some of the humidity. So I've been wanting to grow some sunflowers. It is the hot part of our year here, so this would be a good crop. And I think I'm going to plant maybe 6 in this little area here. We'll see. I'm just going to start here. Since the soil is really nicely fitted, I might as well give it a try. I'm going to have to see about watering a little bit less now that I know this is getting a little too damp here. And we'll see what happens. I'll water these in just to set the seeds, but other than that I'll tell my wife too to kind of watch out how much water we're getting on this area, especially this area right here, and just make sure that it's not getting too much. So, you know, hopefully maybe we'll get a few sunflowers out of this and popping up here, and at least fill the bed with something productive. Now, as you may have seen in the background, though, the sweet potatoes are doing great. They're a little wilty right now because, as I said, it is a very hot day today, but they seem to be doing fine. What I'm going to do with them is give them a little top dressing of some worm castings for some nutrients around the plant here. And I'm actually going to add, I think, just a little more soil as well. Hill these up just a little bit more, as I was talking about earlier, to give the tubers room to grow. And it's somewhat heartening that we saw a few potatoes in there. It means we can grow them. We just got to get things worked out correctly. Maybe add, yet again, more soil to this bed to raise it up, get the drainage a little bit better. Drainage is always so tricky, especially when you're dealing with the soil that's just in your garden beds and not a raised bed. Now, as you can see here, we were victims of the typical garden show conundrum. you can't just buy one plant. Sure enough, the place where I was buying the lemon thyme that I showed you earlier in the container garden update, they were selling basically 3 for $5. So my wife couldn't resist picking up a zucchini and a tomato. Haven't had much luck with either here, but again, we're doing slightly better, as witnessed by the sweet potatoes. So I'm going to fit up this last bed here. This is at the end of the potato bed, but this time I'm actually going to make sure I'm going to fit up the soil here as much as I can, and then I'm going to put an entire bag of garden soil, and then I'm going to plant these new plants right in that garden soil. Hopefully give them a little better drainage, give them a little better start than maybe the potatoes had. It certainly isn't pretty, but it's almost like a raised bed kind of in the middle of this bed, and I think I'm going to leave it like that, and we'll see what sort of return we can get out of here. Let's just pop out this plant. Oh, lots of roots. I'm going to pinch those roots just a little bit. Give a nice little hole here. Find the right height. Back in. And I'll take my shoe a little later and we'll stomp him in a little bit. Really seed him well. And now that I've got this much garden soil there underneath him, hopefully the drainage won't be an issue with these. And if this does work well, I'll basically do the same thing to the entire bed. I'll raise it up a good 6 to 12 inches and make sure I get enough good soil that I don't have that drainage problem that I seem to have been experiencing. Well, that's it for this episode of A Gardener's Notebook in the Garden. For someone who runs a garden blog, this is probably the dirtiest you've seen me in a while. Doing anything this time of year here in Southern California is a dusty business, and I certainly show that. So our goals for the coming weeks is to not water the potatoes quite so much and see if they come back a little bit. Obviously we saw the soil was compacted and wet underneath there, so it doesn't do them any good. And also we'll keep an eye on the zucchini and the tomato we just planted, and basically keep adding soil to this bed until we turn it in to a de facto raised bed where we can plant incoming seasons, especially this fall when we go back to our cold weather crops like kale and lettuce and stuff like that, and perhaps have that bed all prepared for when that time comes. Until next time, I'm Douglas E. Welch. You can always visit the website douglasewelch.com. There you'll find a link to A Gardener's Notebook as well as everything else that I do. I'd love to hear from you what's happening in your garden. Leave comments, Twitter me, Facebook me, Google Plus me, whatever is most convenient for you. If you're watching this on YouTube, please click the like button. It really helps people discover my videos. Thanks again. Until next time, keep digging.